Civil Defence and Red Cross workers have been going door to door in Havelock North today to gauge how widespread the sickness is from the unprecedented water contamination crisis. Unprecedented in size, although it's certainly happened before in water in this region. Thousands of people in the town have fallen sick after the town's water supply was infected with Campylobacter bacteria, prompting all schools in the area to close and many businesses to shut their doors. The local health board says the boil water notice remains in place for Havelock North because it hasn't been able to rule out cryptosporidium yet, which is not killed by chlorination. Meanwhile, Hawke's Bay Public Medical Officer Dr. Nick Jones says there are concerns about cross-contamination.
As of today at 4 o'clock, we had 231 patients with gastro attending general practice, and that's a total of 703 since the outbreak started. In our aged residential care facilities, we had 19 new cases today, so that's 137. In emergency department, 6, 81 since we started. The 2 ICU patients are still in ICU, although one is looking likely to be discharged to the ward, which is great news, and we've got 15 patients on the ward. One of the things that has emerged, however, is we do now have cases who do not live in Havelock North, and we are following up all those cases to try and determine whether or not they have drunk water from Havelock North, whether there is some other connection to there. Of those, the ones that we're aware of so far, we've interviewed about half of them, and our indications suggest that probably around 50%, maybe a bit less, 40% have drunk water from Havelock North, but some haven't.
Dr. Nick Jones. The crisis has prompted an urgent debate in Parliament, with Labour's health spokeswoman Annette King blaming the government for being far too slow to respond given the scale of the crisis. In some homes, every single family member has become sick. In fact, we suspect this is pretty commonplace in Havelock North at the moment. Entire households with Campylobacter, with diarrhoea, vomiting, intense pain and incapacitating weakness. The Berlin family is one such household. Mum is Deborah, and I asked her to explain first of all what she'd been through.
Literally, not being able to lift my body off the bed, feeling so lethargic that you can't get out of the bed. You've got nothing left in your cells in your body because you're so depleted.
And not only were you like that, who else in your family was that sick?
Well, my husband, he's been the sickest. He's a huge man. He's 6'7", 2 meters 1, and he's just been literally like a shadow of himself. He's been the sickest with going to the bathroom probably every 10 to 15 minutes for 3 to 4 days. And then I've got a 5-year-old daughter, a 3-year-old son, and I've got a 12-week-old baby.
And have the children been sick?
The children have been sick. The 5-year-old started with severe headaches and just non-stop crying because they were so bad. The 3-year-old, he's just straight up got the diarrhea straight away, and he's I'm talking around the clock. There's no sleep time for us as parents. We're sick ourselves, but our children are up, 11:30, 11:50, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. It's just been around the clock, so we haven't been able to rest. And then my daughter, my 12-week-old daughter, she's been spewing.
And this is as a result of drinking water from your municipal water supply. What do you think about that?
I feel poisoned. That's how I feel. I feel like they've poisoned me and my family, and I feel disgusted and betrayed.
And Deborah, what about your friends? Because I suspect you've got friends with children roughly the age of your kids, right? What sort of state have they all been in?
My friend Jennifer, she posted a picture on Facebook of her children, and it was probably the most heartbreaking thing I've seen. Her 1.5-year-old son literally crawling around the floor, cramped up, rocking back and forth. He's a 1.5-year-old little boy, just really heartbreaking images of these children in severe pain and not being able to communicate what's going on for them, basically. And I think that's probably been the most heartbreaking thing for me, my children being up at all hours in the morning, my daughter on the toilet, rocking back and forth, holding her stomach, and just crying. And there's nothing you can do to make it better.
How bad is the pain?
My husband was the first to get sick, and he was what I would say, I kept saying, it honestly sounds like you're having contractions in labour. And I was just like, I said to him, you need to man up. Little did I know that I got it like a day and a half later, and I was like, okay, I understand. It was similar to childbirth. Like really, really horrible cramps that you can go toilet and like 5 seconds later feel a little bit of relief, then you're straight back on there again.
Deborah Berlin describing the carnage in her house. Roughly 2,000 people have been made sick by Campbellbacter in Havelock North.